and created a team to play for the United States Soccer Development Academy. For me, I feel like the best coach is the one that can get to know the player and knows how to motivate them. Great to ask questions. I didn't do much of anything, honestly. Braden kind of took this by the reins. It's been his dream to play college soccer, period. He had no desire to play professional, no desire to play for the national team. He wanted to play college soccer. And so he put a lot of work and effort into it. The biggest thing that I can say to any parents about this whole recruiting process is it's not up to you. Like you may or may not have been a collegiate athlete. If your child has an opportunity to be, don't stand in their way and don't try to live your dreams through your kids. You know, we left all of this stuff up to Braden. He asked for it.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Select Generation Podcast, episode 6, I want to say now. And today, well, I feel like I say this every week, but today is a very special episode because we have the absolute legend, Bradford Hawkins, out of Greensboro, North Carolina. Some would say the NC Fusion, how do I put this? The godfather of NC Fusion and the host families. So today we're going to be talking a little bit about a parent's point of view in the college recruiting process, academy soccer in the US growing up, obviously about Brad and his sons. So Brad, the godfather of NC Fusion, give us a little introduction, tell us a little bit about yourself, and looking forward to having you.
Well, thank you for having me. I greatly appreciate it. As Sam said, my name is Brad Hawkins. I have 2 sons that play college soccer. One of them plays at Lenoir Ryan University, and the other one plays club soccer at UNC Wilmington. Been involved with youth soccer since my kids started playing. My oldest is 20, and he started playing when he was 2.5. I had to actually coach the rec team in order for him to play at that age. So been involved in youth soccer for quite some time. Feel like I know a lot of the ins and outs about it. So yeah.
Awesome. So just talk to us a little bit about why soccer, because obviously you didn't play soccer.
Right.
I've known you for 3 years, but I don't think you played soccer growing up.
No.
So why did you choose? Obviously, Braden was your first child. So why soccer? Like what happened there? Like why did you choose? Okay, he's going to play soccer. Did he play basketball or football, baseball? Like what was his story?
So I didn't choose that. My wife and I let our boys try anything that they wanted to do. They played t-ball or baseball. They played basketball. They played soccer. They did triathlons. Very active kids, which is something that we thought was very important, not only for them physically, but also socially, to get to know other kids, different people from different walks of life. And, we let them do whatever they wanted. Connor, my youngest son, even continued to play rec basketball up until his senior year of high school. But when the kids made their own decision, they chose, they got noticed at a very young age. Braden, especially, that he was a bit better than the typical rec players, and some of the kids in the local, or some of the coaches in the local club, inquired about him playing at the club level. And so we kind of took it from there. And oddly enough, Connor followed right in his footsteps and ended up playing at a pretty high level at the club level as well.
Yeah. So you talk about Braden sort of getting scouted and, kind of getting some looks. So talk to us a bit about how it works from going from the rec or when they're really young, super young, playing with their friends, and then going to club soccer. Talk to us a little bit about that. How is it different in terms of the rec league versus the club or the academy league?
So when Braden was 10, so playing, he actually got asked to try out for the U11 club team. And let me rephrase that. I guess he was 9. He got asked to play for the U10 club team. And he went to tryouts. Everything was great. And he got offered a spot at the time, third, probably 5th team. fifth level team, first time in the club, and he turned it down. He said, "Dad, I want to play one more year with my friends, and I want to go back and play rec." He had a lot of the coaches and scouts at the local club asking him, "Hey, where did you play last year?" And he's like, "I still play rec." And they were like, "I can't believe we haven't reached out to you prior." And he ended up playing one more year of rec and went out, tried out for the U12 team at the time. I think I'm getting my ages correctly. But then again, he was on the 5th division team and or the 5th level team in his age group. And that's kind of what started it. Connor played a year of rec that year, and then he got placed on the club team as well.
Yeah, right. And then going sort of in the club and in the academy, from their first year up until their last year of high school when they went off to college. Talk to us a little bit about how the soccer changed. Like, did they change coaches every year and each coach brought their own like philosophy? Was there a club philosophy? Like they had to play the same way every year? Was the training sessions getting different every week? Were the training sessions every year like becoming more tactical, more technical? Like, talk to us about how they got older, how the training and how the coaching sort of developed them as players.
So with our boys, they started out at Greensboro United Soccer Association, and that was the local club that they began playing. They Braden, like I said, was on the 5th division team. His second year, he went to second division, and actually at the end of his U12 season, he actually got moved to the top team. So in Greensboro, the GUSA, Greensboro United Soccer Association Navy, was the highest team for his age group at the time. There was no academy or any of that. So he went from the second team, ended up on the third team. Two different coaches there, different coaches all the way up through, different coaches at rec. And then when Braden was old enough to try out for NC Fusion, which was at the time a combination of Greensboro United Soccer and Twin City Youth Soccer, which is out of Winston-Salem, which is a neighboring city. They formed NC Fusion. They took the top players from Greensboro, from Winston, and created a team to play for the United States Soccer Development Academy. And Braden made that team at U13. Different coaches, different philosophies. This was high level. This was no participation trophies. Like, if you didn't put in the work, you didn't play. And so his second year, still he played for the academy until it dissolved in 2020. Then he played ECNL National League. Each year there was a different coach. Pretty much the same philosophy. NC Fusion has a philosophy that they instill in their coaches, but with different coaches every year. Trainings were different. Some trainings were more intense than others. So it really, I thought that part of the whole aspect was very good for him having a different coach every year and not learning and doing the same things in practice year after year. Connor, on the other hand, had no desire to play for the academy. So he stayed with Fusion for a while or for his whole youth soccer career until his senior year. He played for a different club. But he played at the highest level that he wanted to. He had no desire to play ECNL. He had no desire to play for the academy. He wanted to still play for his friends. He wanted to play high school soccer. So he chose that route. So two boys that are 1 year apart in school, two different routes on what their soccer careers look like. Yeah. And they're two different kids completely. So it worked. It was great.
Yeah. And then you talk about sort of the changes in coach and changes in clubs. Speaking from a player's point of view, you always like the coaches that are, they make you better, they improve you. Like, I have a lot of favorite coaches who were pretty harsh to me in terms of, they didn't show a lot of love on the field. They'd be screaming, shouting, but at the end of the day, you look back and you're like, okay, that made me better, that made me improve. From a parent's point of view, I can imagine that, seeing the coaches being harsh and aggressive, you might think, oh, I don't like that. I want him to, appreciate my son or my daughter. So do you have like a favorite coach that you think Braden and Connor would say that their favorite coach compared to you as a parent? Like from a parent's perspective, what do you think makes a good coach versus maybe what Braden and Connor might think, oh, he was my favorite coach?
I think for me, I feel like the best coach is the one that can get to know the player and knows how to motivate them. Because like I said before, both of my boys are different players, but Connor's favorite coach and Braden's two favorite coaches, I agree with. They were my favorite coaches as well. But each one of those coaches took the time to get to know Braden personally and Connor personally and figured out what motivates them. Yelling and kicking and screaming during a match does not motivate Connor. He needs a little bit of attaboys, a little pat on his butt, good job, thumbs up kind of thing. Braden, on the other hand, needs the tough love. If a coach is like, Braden, you're not doing this well, then Braden takes that in and he uses that for fuel to make himself better.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with that. I think it's important in terms of coaching, like getting the right balance, right? Of knowing when to congratulate the player and let them know they've done a good job, but not let them get comfortable. So, especially with my time at Fusion, well, just a little bit of background actually to the listeners. So,
I was wondering if you were going to bring this up.
Yeah. So Brad and Jen, two of the people that I respect most in my life, of the people, along with my family and et cetera, et cetera. They hosted me. Well, it was a crazy story actually. So I was playing at not a very good Division II college. I wanted to play in the summer for NC Fusion in the USL2, and I was commuting at the first week, like an hour home, an hour there. And it was, I got really, so you were hosting two lads at the time, Keelan, who's from England, and Cam, who's from Australia, who to this day is like one of my best friends. And I remember we had practice at like 8 o'clock in the morning on a Saturday, and I was thinking, God, I've got to get up I got home on Friday night at like 10, 11, because we practiced in the evening, but then Saturday morning we had to practice really early. So I said to Cam, and I said, oh, Cam, because he was like one of the boys that I'd sort of made the best connection with in the first week. Oh, Cam, do you think it'd be all right if I just crash at your host family's couch? Like, I'm not trying to go back an hour and come back an hour tomorrow morning. If they can let me sleep on the couch, like, what do you think? And then I remember going upstairs. We're in that spare room with Keelan, where Keelan and Cam were staying. I remember Jen just came in and was like, "Oh, Sam, like, what you doing?" Because she was curious, like, why I was there only after a week. And then I just remember her, like, I just explained what was happening, and then she went back down. Like 5 minutes later, she came up and was like, "Oh, well, I mean, this summer, if you need somewhere to stay, like, we can make it work." I mean, that's my perspective. I don't know about yours.
No, that's exactly what happened. It was, I couldn't have said the story any better. It was exactly what happened. And then you lived there for 4 straight years without leaving. Supposedly you went back to school for a bit, maybe to UNH.
All right. So for context, there, before Brad runs his mouth, so I stayed there the whole summer, like one of the best summers. The second best summer in my adult life from when I was a kid. Well, no, it might. Right, we'll get into this. So that was the first summer, and then the second summer was COVID, and I was in the US. I was at school.
And you still ended up in our house.
Some stuff happened, and I ended up back there for a little bit, coming and going. And then that was the last summer when, so that was my third summer. And that's when we got to the national final, and that was the best summer ever, like with some of my closest friends today, playing football every day, going to work, coming back to your host family with the boys. And I was like really close. Me and Cam were like so close with Braden and Connor at that point. And then Victor, who's like one of my best friends now, like that was a proper tight-knit group. Like, even in our Hawks Nest group chat, we're talking every day pretty much. Yeah. So that's the context for the listeners. But and in terms of Braden and Connor, Brad, so obviously Connor's now playing club soccer. Braden's playing at the Division II level. Like, from a parent's point of view, when did the college process start? I know Braden had it really rough with COVID. So that's an interesting perspective. It's not normal compared to what happens now in the process. But talk to us a little bit about Braden getting recruited, how it worked, and just a parent's point of view for the college process.
So Braden was talking to some Division I schools actually. Just a few here and there, kind of his sophomore, junior year, just a little bit of contact whenever it was legal for them to reach out to him. He put together some videos and things like that. And then COVID hit, and Division I coaches were not allowed to recruit or have any contact with players. They could come watch them play in their showcases, but Division II and Division III teams could. So Braden, actually one of his ex-coaches, probably, or one of his mentors in his whole soccer career, reached out to him directly. We got very little support from the club, but we just weren't afraid to ask questions. I didn't do much of any, honestly. Braden kind of took this by the reins. It's been his dream to play college soccer, period. He had no desire to play professional, no desire to play for the national team. He wanted to play college soccer. And so he put a lot of work and effort into it. And one of his mentors called and said, hey, just spoke with a coach at Lenore Ryan. I think that he's going to be giving you a call. Be on the lookout for it. And so a couple of phone calls. Again, my wife and I had zero interaction. Braden did all of this on his own. He did come to us and say, hey, coach wants to talk to us, wants us to go down for a visit and see the campus, do a campus tour, and then say hello to him. So we did all that, and we expected to just say hello to the coach and kind of a, hey, how are you, face with a name kind of thing. First time I'd ever spoke to him was on this visit. And he ended up spending about 45 minutes to an hour with us and walking us around, showing us all the athletic facilities, the weight room, the training room, the locker room for the men's soccer team. I mean, he really spent some time with Braden, which was very positive and kind of gave us that feeling that this could be something that, Braden potentially could do. And that was in the fall of his senior year. And he got offered in January, end of January, 1st of February of his senior year. And he's now going into his junior year at Lenore Ryan University.
Yeah. And how was, well, first of all, when he met you, did he say, hola, ¿qué tal? Was it dialect in Spanish or English?
It was he actually spoke English. He's from England, the head coach is. But most of the players at LR.
Yeah, so Vic, who lived with us that summer, he was like Lenore Ryan's star player. And then the next summer we had Luis, who took Victor's spot as the number 10. And yeah, I remember like looking at the roster, like, geez, they're 14 Spanish. No wonder Victor sounds like Google Translate robot. I still give him rubbish for that today, but no. And then in terms of the offer came through, mm-hmm. were you like, okay, this is where I want to be? Did you have to take time to review the offer? Like, what was the thought process with the offer? Was it like, okay, it's come through, I know it, I need to wait on it a week and see what other offers I get? Or like, what was that connection with the offer? Was it just like right place, right time?
It really was all Braden's decision. The offer came, and he had already applied to the university, received his academic scholarship money. The numbers worked for us, and I mean he gave it a couple of days to kind of sort it out inside of his own head. And the biggest thing that I can say to any parents about this whole recruiting process is it's not up to you. Like you may or may not have been a collegiate athlete. If your child has an opportunity to be, don't stand in their way and don't try to live your dreams through your kids. We left all of this stuff up to Braden. He asked for advice. He said, Dad, what about this? Mom, what about that? Of course, we gave him our opinion. But we also have a relationship. We're very open and honest with both of our boys about anything whatsoever. And because of that, they can come to us and ask any questions that they have, whether it's about soccer or academics or life or whatever.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you in terms of advice. Now you've sort of been through the process. You've had one of your sons go and play at Division 2 level. You've had one of your sons who, didn't really want to play collegiate soccer, has ended up playing club at a school by the beach that he loves. Like, what would your advice be to parents going through the college recruiting process?
Number one, don't set your expectations too high. I read years ago that 2% of American youth soccer players play collegiate soccer. And that's at Division 1, Division 2, Division 3, and NAIA. Only 2%. There's such an influx of international players that come to the U.S. to play soccer that the number of Americans that get to play soccer is very, very low. And if your child has the opportunity, that's their desire, then you need to support them as much as you can, however it works out. However you support your children, do it for this as well. And if your kid is a top-notch player, plays for the academy, plays ECNL National League, they don't want to play college soccer, don't force that on them. This is their life that they need to live, that they're going to make choices in life. You may not agree with it, but you still have to support your kids.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely. No, I think it's really important that, you hit the nail on the head there. Like, Braden knew, okay, I'm going to play college soccer. Like, that's my goal. That's what I'm working towards. And Connor, on the other hand, was like, I want to go to Wilmington. I want to be by the beach. I love the school. Oh, they have club soccer. That's a bonus. And it's not like you, like, no, Connor, you've played club soccer or academy soccer or rec soccer your whole life. Like, you need to go and play college soccer. That's not really how it works. It's on them. So, no, I totally agree with that. And then just lastly, Brad, how do you support your sons how do you support your children at college? So in terms of soccer, because when they're growing up, you're at the games, you can go watch practice if you want. It's 10, 20 minutes from your house. You go to everything, you don't have to call them. They're not busy. They've got their school from 9 to 3 and then they're at home. When they're at college and they're away from home, especially being a freshman or a sophomore, how do you support them to make sure that they're, comfortable, they're enjoying college, they're playing, they're not playing? Like, talk to us about how you support, from your perspective, your son when they're in their first couple of years at college with soccer.
It's a big change. It's definitely not, you don't get to have the conversations on the ride home training in the car back to the house. Hey, I watched you train tonight. You did this well. You need to improve on that, etc. Fortunately, like I said, we have a very open relationship with our kids, and we speak to them every single day. And sometimes it's for, hey, Mom, I'm just calling to tell you good night, or it's, hey, I really didn't do well in training tonight. Let me tell you what I did, and it's a 20, 30-minute conversation. So that's how we support them. Like, we're always there to answer questions. We don't know what it's like to play college sports. We don't know what it's like to be a college soccer player. But what we do know is we know our kids, and we know how to comfort them if they need it, how to motivate them if they need that, and how to congratulate them when things are going well. Connor started playing for UNC Wilmington, which is a Division I club soccer team, just this past spring. So only for a semester. He did not play in the fall, but in the spring he did. They went to a national tournament at East Carolina University. Connor got playing time. They actually lost in the national championship of that, or the final championship game of that national tournament. So that was very encouraging. He was really hyped. We were able to congratulate him and things like that. But then when other things don't go so well, like when he didn't play in the fall, it wasn't because he didn't want to. The cards just weren't there for him to make the team, so to speak. But after that fall semester, they had an opening spot. He came out, and the coach was like, the president of the club soccer team was like, "Hey man, you're good to go, and we want you here." And so that's how that kind of worked out. With Braden at Lenoir Ryan, it's pretty much the same thing. Like, you're having a great day of training, you're doing well, you're we're encouraging it. But if, hey, I had a crappy game or I had a crappy training session, we're there to hey, let's talk it out, figure out what you need to do. Braden especially is not afraid to speak to coaches. Like, he's not afraid to call up the head coach and say, hey, can I set up a meeting for Thursday at 2:00 and go in there and just kind of talk it out with the head coach or the assistant coach or whomever he needs to speak with. But that's just his way of internally getting better, mentally, physically, all of that stuff. So, we're just there. We're just another extension of the support system.
Yeah. I mean, after living with you for 3-4 years, I can definitely see that. I mean, even if I have something, I give you a call, don't I? So, yeah. I mean, it's hard when you're. I struggled with it, to be fair, like the first semester, because I was obviously homesick and we were losing a lot, and by the time I got home from practice, it was 5:00. My parents were both asleep, so I couldn't really chat to them. But you sort of just get used to it. And I mean, I never really had the courage to, especially like my freshman and sophomore year, to say, "Hey, coach, I want a meeting. Like, can we talk?" So I mean, congrats to Braden on that. But yeah, no, Brad, the godfather of NC Fusion, thank you for your time, mate. I know you got Ted Lasso to go and watch, but
yeah, I'm just now binge watching that. So.
Good lad. Well, yeah, mate. I'll be back in North Carolina soon. We'll go grab a beer, mate. But no, thank you for your time. Appreciate that, Brad, and I'll speak to you soon, mate. All right.
Sounds good.
Yeah.
All right. Bye.